The Sanders family remains on everyone's mind. Is Shedeur Sanders, and what is going to happen with this young man in Cleveland? Is the guy who at one point was in the conversation to possibly even be the number one overall pick? There are rumors out there going around that there is a possibility that the Cleveland Browns could cut Shedeur Sanders. There's going to be a lot of teams around the NFL looking at Shedeur Sanders' performance with interest. These are the kinds of things that people start to talk about. So which is it? Could Prime be primed for historical greatness? Or could the wheels come off and it all falls apart? Good news here for the Ricky Cobb Show. We are getting our own YouTube channel starting on Monday. Yeah, that's right. Starting on Monday, the Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube. So all you got to do is head over to YouTube, sign up, and we've got our own channel, man. I know how George and Wheezy Jefferson felt now. We're moving on up. Yeah, beans don't burn in the kitchen. I don't know. Anyway, you get the idea. So the Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube. I don't know, man. Wow. My chest is puffing out a little bit with pride here of our little show that could. So head over. You can sign up on YouTube. You may need to go through the OutKick page where you're used to seeing our show in order to find it. But it's the Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube. So starting on Monday, we'll come back and we'll have our very own channel here, and we're going to have lots of content that'll be populating it in the coming weeks. Some greatest hits footage, interviews, and moments from the show. So we're going to have a nice little archive of footage. They're all in one place, convenient for you to find it. All the good stuff. So we're excited about that. Let's start with football, and what better topic for us to begin with the college football season kicking off this weekend and the NFL season now really just around the corner. And the Sanders family remains on everyone's mind, and particularly my thing that I'm watching most closely right now in the NFL is Shedeur Sanders and what is going to happen with this young man in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders. Jason Lloyd of The Athletic asking the question, saying if Dillon Gabriel is still the preferred choice of the head coach after OTAs, after minicamp, after training camp, if Dillon Gabriel is still ahead of Shedeur Sanders on the depth chart, are the Browns in need of clearing some space here? Why do you need Shedeur Sanders if that is the case? And there is also speculation from Jason Lloyd of The Athletic that the Browns are going to be in the market for a quarterback next year. The Browns do not look like they're going to have a great year on paper. So they're probably going to be somewhere near the top of the draft in 2026. And could they have their eye on obtaining a franchise quarterback then? And if they are interested in drafting a quarterback next year, that probably is not a great vote of confidence for Shedeur Sanders. Some saying that Shedeur's next preseason performance, and he's going to get one more crack at it, he could be auditioning for his gig out here with another team, either for the Browns or perhaps as trade bait for somebody else. There's going to be a lot of teams around the NFL looking at Shedeur Sanders' performance with interest if the Cleveland Browns are possibly entertaining the idea of cutting him or trading him. It'll be Shedeur's first performance in front of the Cleveland fans against the Rams. It's going to happen tomorrow in Cleveland, and I'm going to be watching this with a lot of interest. Can you imagine if he plays well and the Browns were to cut him anyway? Because there are already some conspiracy theories out there that are floating around. We heard them at the time. When he slid, it was like, oh my God, he's going to slide to the second round. Then it was, oh, I can't believe this. He's going to slide to the third round. And then he didn't get taken in the third or the fourth. And suddenly you're thinking there's a possibility that this kid is going to go all the way through the draft. He's going to go undrafted, which was unthinkable. It was unthinkable that he could slide to the second round. And then suddenly you're thinking, oh my God, is anybody going to take him? And the Browns took him in the fifth round. Now, here's where the plot thickens, my friends. Eric Dickerson, the Hall of Famer, the legend, the The man who holds the record to this day in the NFL for the most rushing yards in one season was on the Dan Patrick Show, and he had something very interesting to say, and this is a hell of a thing. I want you guys to listen to what Eric Dickerson had to say, because this is very vague, and he doesn't go into any detail that would give us any idea, really, of who this person may have been. But Eric Dickerson says that the NFL told teams not to draft Shedeur Sanders.
And I'll tell you this much here, what I heard from someone that's in the NFL, that the NFL told other, don't draft him, do not draft him. We're gonna make an example out of him. And this came from a very good source. And he said that, I won't say who, somebody called the Cleveland Browns and said, don't do that. Draft
really?
him. Yep, draft him. Don't do that. Because they weren't going to draft him either. They weren't going to draft him.
Now that is a hell of an allegation. Someone within the NFL, according to Eric Dickerson, and someone that he characterizes as a very good, reliable source, in his opinion, this unnamed individual, alleges that the Browns were called and told not to take Shedeur Sanders, and that the NFL was telling every team that we're going to teach this kid a lesson where nobody is to draft him. I find that hard to believe. Look, I don't doubt that Eric Dickerson believes what he's saying. I'm not questioning that. But it seems to me to be a bit far-fetched that the NFL would go so far as to contact all of the teams and say, don't draft Shedeur Sanders. Why would there be any such level of that kind of behavior against this kid? I don't see it. I don't get it. But these are the kinds of things that people start to talk about when you see somebody that was considered to be the first or second pick, it's somewhere in the top 10, probably at worst. And that kid ends up going in the 5th round. And the Browns clearly took him. They weren't planning on taking him. They clearly took him because they looked at him as a $20 bill that they found on the sidewalk. You get to the 5th round, and I don't want to say that those kids are the bottom of the barrel. I mean, the 49ers got Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft a few years ago. But by the time you get to the 5th round, maybe at that point you can start taking some upside shots. And when the Browns looked and saw Shedeur Sanders was still on the board, they thought, you know what? This is the 5th round. Fuck it. We're going to take this kid. And they did. Now, as far as Shedeur goes, I want to give him some credit for everything that's been said about him. He interviewed so poorly. He's made such a bad impression on teams around the league. I want to give credit where credit is due here, and I want to go to some comments that Shedeur had recently about his perspective on the process of growing and learning to be a professional quarterback.
I would say I learned life in a different perspective, and that's why I come here. I'm happy. I always got good energy because, I'm blessed to come out here every day. Regardless of the situation, regardless of anything, I know my time, whenever that is, I'll be ready for it, and I'm going to embrace that. But in due time, I got many things I need to fix, many things I need to work on, and I'm not oblivious to that. So all I look at it as I'm getting more time to cook. I'm getting more time to warm up. That's all it is.
Well, I got to say, isn't that the attitude that you would want the kid to have? He says he's not oblivious to the fact that there are areas where he needs to improve, and he's taken the attitude that being down on the depth chart is an opportunity for him to take more time to build the skills that he needs to build. That's what I heard from the kid. And I think that that's the attitude that you would want in someone who is in that situation. He's not being divisive. He's not complaining. He's not saying I should be the man. He's not saying this is a joke. He's showing some humility. And for all the criticism that he's taken for his alleged attitude problems, I think it's only fair to acknowledge that those were the comments of a young man who seems to have a grip on the situation that he finds himself in. And he's also said that he's going to try to get some free tickets for high school players in the Cleveland area. And that's the kind of thing where you start to build some ties and you start to build some kinship within a community. I think that's also something that you want to see from a young player of his profile, even though he did fall to the 5th round. He's the most famous draft pick that they have. I like that. Dick Vitale is among his fans. Let's see what Dickie Baby has to say about Shedeur Sanders here, tweeting out his support, saying that I'm rooting hard for Shedeur Sanders and any athlete that gets a raw deal. I hope he proves that he should have never been a 5th round draft pick. I hope he becomes a success for the Browns who drafted him in the 5th round. Those are the words of Dick Vitale. And this is where I think, again, it gets very, very interesting. If they cut him and he plays well on Saturday, and we've got a sample size of 2 games in the preseason where Shedeur Sanders has looked good and he gets cut loose anyway, believe me, P.A. Jarrett said that Mel Kiper Jr. is going to have an aneurysm if that occurs, and I don't think that Mel Kiper Jr. will be the only person. The conspiracy theorists are going to have their tinfoil hats on en masse if Shedeur Sanders were to get cut after playing well in the preseason. Now, as far as Pops, Deion Sanders, of course, ready to get the season going in Boulder. There were questions about Deion's health. He was away from the team for an extended period of time, and now he's back. He is recovered from bladder cancer and is, I'm sure, continuing to recover from it, but he's pronounced himself fit to coach. And here's one of the moments where, again, as we've talked on the show, depending upon the day, Ronnie and I either praise Deion or we shake our head sometimes at things that Deion says. But the Deion that Ronnie and I both know and love on full display here as he addresses his team about the standards that he has for them in terms of how they carry themselves around the campus in Boulder, Colorado.
We start school when, Ben? Tomorrow. No slides. If I see you with, I'm going to send people to campus tomorrow. If I see you with slides on campus, it's going to be a problem. If I see you with a hoodie on in class or some headphones on in class, it's going to be a problem. If I see you sitting in the back of the classroom, it's going to be a problem. Do we understand that?
That's the mentor. That right there, that's good Deion. That's the Deion that I listen to and I think, all right, man, Deion does have the right stuff. He's charismatic, but he also understands beneath all of the glitz and the things that he will say, sometimes I think 50% just for the effect that he thinks that it's going to have on the media. That guy right there is a guy who gets it. And Deion has certainly proven that he is a very good coach. We know what he did at Jackson State before he got to Colorado. And now here he is in Colorado. He's exceeded, I would say, the expectations that some had for him up until this point. Now, have they had fabulous, wild, incredible success in Colorado? No, they have not. But he inherited a program that wasn't in good shape, and he ignited interest around it. And last season, they had a very credible, 8-win season. But without Travis Hunter, without Shedeur, this third year for Deion is going to be pivotal, in my opinion, a pivotal season for his coaching ambitions. Because I don't know that I've ever seen a coach, I can't recall another coach off the top of my head, where the possible range of outcomes that he faces with his career at this particular juncture is any wider. Because you think about it, we've had speculation that he wasn't even going to make it to the start of the season. We've heard people say either he's not going to make it to the season or he won't make it all the way through the season. On the other hand, we've got people like Stephen A. Smith who are saying that he could see Deion Sanders being a great fit in Tuscaloosa with Alabama or with another similar elite blue blood program that Deion would fit right in, that the recruiting would go through the roof. If you put Deion at a traditional powerhouse, that he would recruit like no other, and he could end up being great, perhaps even a historically great coach. So which is it? Could he be primed? Could Prime be primed for historical greatness? Or could the wheels come off and it all falls apart? And of course, you've got the entire range of possibilities between those two endpoints. We shall see. I'm going to be watching Colorado very closely this season, as closely as I'm going to be watching Shedeur Sanders on Saturday and how the Cleveland Browns decide that they're going to attempt to proceed with the 5th round pick.
This fall, you're not just watching the biggest game in college football. You're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27th, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest the VIP treatment
This is your shot
to punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course.
We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats, and everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. Outkick.com/sweepstakes.
In other news, in the WNBA, the latest sex toy thrower, the latest dildo thrower, is getting the book thrown at them. It's like, you throw a dildo at the court, we'll throw the book at you, says New York, because this guy hit a 12-year-old girl with the dildo that he threw. And he is now being hit with a litany of charges here. Take a look at this. 10 charges that this guy is getting, and there it is right there. On or about August 5th, 2025 at approximately 8:45 p.m., 620 Atlantic Avenue. This is the Barclays Center, isn't it? I believe. He attempted assault in the 2nd degree, assault in the 3rd degree. You see it all the way down. Obscenity in the 3rd degree, reckless endangerment, menacing, interference with a professional sporting event, harassment.
Criminal possession of a weapon.
Noticing the most. Yeah, the one that people are noticing the most that stands out here is criminal possession of a weapon in the 4th degree. And you're hearing everybody talk about it. Is a dildo really a weapon? Well, I guess it depends on whose hands it is in, doesn't it? I mean, who it depends on what you do with it. Anything could be a weapon. I could pick up this AstroTurf helmet and, hurl it at somebody hard enough that I could get charged with a crime of it being a weapon. I want you to get the legalese of this with me. New York Penal Law 265.01.
You said penal.
I did. Isn't it amazing that you get a penal charge after you hurl a dildo? It seems only fair, really. The 4th degree weapon possession charge that this is doesn't just cover guns, doesn't just cover knives and other obvious weapons. The statute also criminalizes possession of, quote unquote, any instrument, device, or substance which under the circumstances is readily capable of causing serious physical injury or death. So basically, it's any object that you can use to harm someone else. So it became a weapon when he threw it. And it was at that point in time a projectile that could hurt somebody. That's how it is. The law doesn't require that it's a traditional weapon. It can be a bat, it can be a bottle. If you hurled a full can of Coke, or I suppose even a half-empty can of Coke at somebody, and you could harm them with it, you'd be subject to getting charged in the same way. This is the 3rd person now who has been criminally charged for throwing a dildo at a WNBA game. Others who were charged, it happened in Atlanta. That person was charged. Phoenix, Arizona. That individual was charged. There was a 4th dildo thrower, the one in Chicago, and that dildo thrower is still at large. So let's all be careful out there.
Where were you during that game, Ricky?
This individual.
Were you at home? Do you have an alibi?
And I'm not going to answer any questions without the presence of my attorney, Ron. Is all that I would say to that. There is WNBA action this weekend. I don't know if you've got any wagers going on who the next dildo thrower is going to be or where that's going to occur. Paige Beckers is in action this weekend. She plays tonight and over the weekend. Angel Reese is in action on Saturday, and the Indiana Fever play tonight and Sunday, although they will do so without Caitlin Clark and without Sophie Cunningham. So we shall see. I don't know. As these charges come in, obviously what they're trying to do is they're trying to enforce the law, okay, however we feel about that particular charge, and as wild as it is to get charged for throwing a dildo, but they're trying to discourage this because obviously there's a lot of copycat criminals out there. All right, let's talk about Jerry Jones. As we know, one of my favorite people to bring up on the program. Jerry Jones he's more than a Hall of Famer. He's more than one of the most influential and important figures within the NFL. He is now also an actor. That's right, Jerry Jones making a guest appearance on the Paramount Plus program Landman, which stars Billy Bob Thornton and look, I haven't seen it yet, but I get the impression it's sort of a 2025 version of Dallas in the simplest terms. And Jerry stopped by and sat down with the good folks at Fox and Friends and talked about the experience that he had guest starring on Landman.
Jerry, I don't know if that was scripted or just an ad lib, but it was a tearjerker.
Well, the lesson is called subject matter, really. And one of them is your kids. And if you have a conversation or you have any type of presentation in that case that's got your kids in mind, there's a lesson for all of it. That strings a lot of strums and hearts. And it did at that time. The facts are that's a true story. And the real world is that we did get involved together. They, of course, were much younger. But a lot of these ideas were not mine. They were theirs as we moved along. And not only that, they've executed them. So they've been great partners. And we don't have to worry about who's going to take over if I get hit by a car tomorrow.
And and we hope you don't get hit by a car tomorrow, Jerry. For God's sake, that's dark. I've seen the clip in question of his appearance, and I'm going to have to tell you, credit again where credit is due. Jerry's actually quite good. Actually really quite good. If you didn't know who he was, if you were just somebody out there who is not a football fan, or you've been living under a rock for the last 35 years and you just happened to tune that show in, you would have thought that he was an actor. Ronnie, I got a little flashback to Augusta here. This is a 2025 Augusta story, but our 2024 experience is one that I think we can reflect upon. Here's Rory McIlroy talking about some souvenirs that he took home from Augusta after his incredible career-defining victory this April.
How many Masters flags do you think you've signed already?
A lot. I have no idea. It's been a lot, but I do know that they had 1,100 extra. Like they had 1,100 left in the merchandise facility at the end of the week, and we took all 1,100. So. But it's been a lot. But I'll never get sick of signing them. I've waited 17 years to sign that flag in the middle, and I will never complain about doing that.
He took home 1,100 flags after that. Do you think he got any garden gnomes, Ron?
Wasn't that funny that some of the dudes at our house were getting up at, 4 o'clock, taking a shuttle over to the course so they can get a gnome, one of the elusive gnomes?
It was such a huge deal. The one guy, I can't remember the one guy's name, God bless him. His friend was Martin Laird, the former PGA. I don't know if Martin Laird's, I don't think he's on tour anymore, but he won a few times. I remember the guy was from Denver, I think. Shout out to you wherever you are, buddy. I can see you in my mind's eye, but I can't remember your name. But the great Tom Levin as well, who we met that week or whatever, and is a great guy. I know he also got his gnome because he was carrying it around with him. Do you remember when we were out there? I don't know if we were in the same group that day or not, Ron, but we were out there walking around and he was lugging this big ass garden gnome around with him everywhere that he went, you know. So congrats to Rory, but 1,100 Masters flags. He says he'll never get tired of signing them. Good for him. I'll tell you this, you'll never get tired of signing up for the Ricky Cobb Show on YouTube. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to pump the tires on this one more time, Ronnie. If you're just tuning in, or even if not, this is a good time to remind you that the Ricky Cobb Show, right there, head over to YouTube and subscribe. We've got our own channel now. All of the Ricky Cobb Show content in one place conveniently for you. We're going to have full episodes. We're going to have clips from episodes. And we're certainly going to curate an archive of our greatest moments so that you will have at your fingertips the opportunity to peruse some of the stuff that we've done on this program that we're pretty proud of. Fox 1 on Fox. You can stream your favorite live sports, including the NFL, college football, NASCAR, the Major League Baseball postseason, and so much more. NFL season's right around the corner, and I know that I'm going to be catching the big games on Fox 1. God damn it, there's no doubt about it. You can download it. The app is right there onto your favorite device, onto your smart television, and the app's going to make it just as easy as pie for you to enjoy the greatest streaming content out there. Fox 1, we live for live. So how about that? There's some good news for sports fans. It's going to be that much easier for you to get your great content. Well, Cracker Barrel has been in the news, as you very likely know, unless you've been indisposed or something like that. Rebranding Cracker Barrel, changing their logo, changing the design of their restaurants. They had a pop-up event in New York in the meatpacking district, and it looks like people were coming out in ones for this thing. There you are, a lot of line dancing. There's at least 2 people there because I see a guy playing bags, although I guess maybe he could just be practicing, Ron. I don't know. That right there, that's a real good idea of where Cracker Barrel is right now. That symbolizes it very nicely. And here to help me break down the Cracker Barrel situation as well as all other important cultural goings-on within this country is OutKick's Senior Director of Content and the head of OutKick's Culture Department. I know him as the commissioner of the Thursday Night Mowing League. He is Joe Kinsey. Joe, how you doing, man?
Ricky, first of all, your set looks amazing. It's like you're all grown up now. This is big that you have brick wall. It looks like you're in a warehouse. How many square feet is that warehouse that you're in right now, Ricky?
12,000 square feet, Joe.
Well, I knew it. It's huge. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Is this AstroTurf helmet? Is this a sponsor? Is this what's going on down here in the corner?
Well, we need to talk to AstroTurf about that. Yeah, it's an AstroTurf helmet. I don't know how you feel about AstroTurf as the commissioner of the Thursday Night Mowing League. I'm tight with the AstroTurf guys.
Listen, for football fields, I'm all for it now because I've seen them get ripped up. And, you just don't want my quarterback, Joe Burrow, getting a leg blown out on a wet turf or wet field. So I need I need field turf for him. But, Ricky, you asked about Cracker Barrel. Let me tell you, what a hell of a week for this brand, this iconic brand. They killed the old man off the barrel, off the logo. They murdered his ass, sent him packing. And then they said, I'll tell you what, this will be a great idea. Let's go to the meatpacking district in New York City and let's hold a Cracker Barrel event. Ricky, these people all live on an island that there's no Cracker Barrel unless they take a boat or drive across a big-ass bridge over to New Jersey, and you can't even get Cracker Barrel in New York City, and they're like, listen, here's the best marketing idea yet. We'll get a bunch of influencers, and we'll have them line dance in New York, and they'll write about it and tweet about it, and it'll be a genius idea. Ricky, this brand is a mess right now. They just can't get out of their way. I hate to see Cracker Barrel go down like this, but these white women, these suburban white women have taken it down the drain. And I don't even know where you get, I don't know where you go from here, Ricky. I'm all out of words here.
This fall, you're not just watching the biggest game in college football.
You're at the game.
Bama versus Georgia.
September 27th, Athens.
OutKick's giving one lucky fan and a guest a VIP treatment
This is your shot.
to punch your ticket to the college football weekend of a lifetime.
Flights covered.
Hotel covered.
Game tickets, of course.
We're also hooking up 10 more fans with OutKick hats, and everyone who enters gets a discount to the OutKick shop.
No purchase necessary.
Just hit outkick.com/sweepstakes.
College football weekend of a lifetime. OutKick.com/sweepstakes.